ask for them to kind of stand by if anything goes on.
Okay.
So hoping this isn't anything more than that after tonight, but just for my own protection and the kids.
Okay. All right. So that'll be the thing then. So July, I'll put that in the provision that he can come back with police escort to get personal property, clothing, medication, or any personal effects one time with the police department. Make sure you give a heads up what's going on, and then the hearing, like I said, will be July 6th at 10 a.m. Now, because of backup situations, typically when I have hearings, I try to have them go somewhere else. I may, just so to avoid any appearance of impropriety, send this out to another judge to have heard, one of the other judges on my floor. Okay?
That's fine. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So let's see. A couple more stuck up on me. Okay. Oh, got it.
But there's like a third one, so these two are the mutual.
Got it.
And the other one, these two, but then this one's kind of a, I can't remember her name. I think.
That's last week, I think.
So he has her. But yeah.
Got it.
We're kind of all together, except for that one.
Got it. Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. If you could mute yourselves, my name is Judge Mathews. I have several cases that's before the court for purposes of obtaining an emergency order of protection. I am going to take care of each one of your cases in turn. Let's see. Give me 1 second. All right. So yes, I brought you all in at one time into the virtual courtroom, so that way you can kind of see what's happening. It is a public courtroom, and you kind of see what's happening, so you know that if I just have you in the waiting room, you know, just like being at a doctor's office. If you're in the waiting room and the doctor has a patient in there, you don't know why it's taking so long. You don't know what's going on, although you can't know what's going on in the doctor's office, unlike a courtroom. But at least you don't sit there being anxious about what's happening. So please bear with me as I go through each one of the hearings. So that being said, the first one will be Nicole
Good afternoon.
And in fact, you are Nicole Robertson.
Yes,
Could you raise your right hand? Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. You may lower your arm. Okay, so how do you know Jeffrey, is it Rickard or Richard?
Ricard,
Okay, so R-I-C-A-R-D.
yes.
How do you know him?
He is my ex-husband.
Okay. Your ex-husband, do you have any children in common?
Well, I have a son, he's 23, but he's not his biological father, so.
Sure. And how long had you been married to Mr. Ricard?
We were married 7 years. We've been divorced 7.5 years.
Okay. Okay. And so why are you seeking an emergency order of protection against Mr. Ricard?
So he just got out of prison about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
He was in prison for 8.5 years. And as he's come out, he's tried contacting me several times. I let him know that I'm not interested in having a relationship with him. I told him to stop calling. I filed a report with the Lindenhurst Police Department on Saturday, and then I called them again today because today he left me a voicemail saying that I needed to call him or he's coming to my house. After that, he got a hold of my aunt, who he told her if I didn't call him within a half an hour, he would go to my current boyfriend's work and make sure he can't walk again. After, when I was talking to the police officer called him, told him, oh, I'm sorry, I was just having a bad day. But then right after that, he called my aunt because he can't talk to me because I have him blocked. He called my aunt saying that he was going to ruin my life. He would ruin me. He was going to, that I owe him because he lost everything. And even though that was his fault, obviously, I owe him respect and I owe him communication with him, and he's not going to give up. So I'm afraid. He's threatened my boyfriend. Not that he was regularly violent or anything in our relationship, but there were a couple times where there was some pushing and shoving, and him saying all of those things. I'm concerned. I'm afraid to go outside. I'm afraid to leave my house. He told me even if he's in or out of prison, he has ways to get to me. It's just really concerning. And he said to my aunt that he doesn't care, he'll go back to prison, but he's going to ruin my life and ruin me.
Okay. All right, man, what I'm gonna do is I am going to I'm gonna find abuse occurred, by way of harassment. I'm gonna grant the emergency order of protection. Do you know why he was in prison?
He was in prison for his 9th DUI.
Okay. So I'm gonna grant the emergency order of protection, finding that abuse has occurred. An emergency order of protection is valid for up to 21 days. After 21 days, it expires. If you want the court to consider additional time, up to 2 years of an order of protection, you would have to return for a hearing called a plenary hearing on the order of protection.
Okay.
At that hearing, I will hear from you under oath. If you have any witnesses you want the court to consider, they need to be available and ready to go on that date. If you have any text messages or pictures that you want the court to consider, again, they will have to be ready to go on that date. And we will be doing all this by Zoom.
Okay.
You would receive a copy of this order I am giving you today by way of an email if you provided your email address to the ladies at a safe place. Did you give your email address?
Yes.
Okay. So you will receive an email from our clerk from there. The Lake County Sheriff's Office or other officers will attempt to get him served. If they're able to get him served, and then on the next court date, which I'm going to set right now, July 2nd at 1:30, July 2nd at 1:30, if he fails to appear, but you appear, I will hear the evidence, and if it's sufficient, I will grant the plenary order of protection. However, if you don't appear, then again, it could be get dismissed. Do you understand that?
Yes.
do you have any questions for me at this point?
You know, he's still on probation. I didn't know if I should contact his probation officer. Not that you necessarily know that, but I didn't know if that would maybe do something, help, I guess. Like,
He is, so do you know his last known address?
I just know he's in Pell Lake, Wisconsin. I don't know, but it's Kenosha County. I know he's in Kenosha County on probation.
Do you know the name of his probation officer?
I know it's a lady, and I know her first name is Jamie, but I don't have a last name.
Jamie and probation in Kenosha County.
Yes.
Okay, I will at least indicate in the note that he may be, respondent may be on, you know, I forgot to do an order saying they can return that last one, Farrell. I must redo that one. Respondent may be on probation in Kenosha County. Prison stint. All right, ma'am. So we're gonna set it for that date as indicated, July 2nd at 1:30. Okay?
Okay, and I just call into the same Zoom then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
No problem, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What was that Farrell number?
933.
No, I guess that can't. It says 20 OP 933. That comes up as a code.
993, I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem.
99.
No problem.
Something free, I don't know. I'm only looking right at it.
Okay, I just redid Farrell. All right. So let's see. Next, I have a Amy. Is it Skorzuski versus a Shirley Schickel, and Shirley Schickel versus Amy Skorzuski. Can you unmute yourselves? All right, good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Okay. Ma'am, you are Shirley Schickel?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then, ma'am, above you are Amy Skorzewski. One second, I didn't hear you. Let's see, could you unmute yourself? I still can't hear you. Well, still can't hear you.
Okay, which one can't you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, Ms. Schickel, I can hear you. I just can't hear Ms. Skorzewski. Nope, still can't hear you, ma'am. That's right. Take your time. I'm going to review the petition while you work on your device, Ms. Skorzewski. I thought I heard something. Is that you, Ms. Skorzewski?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. No, now you went mute again. Try it again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry, I have a phone recorder, so it records all my phone calls. And I guess that was interrupted during this, and that's why you couldn't hear me. It muted.
Okay, so Ms. Skorzewski, I'm gonna have you raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with yours first. So we're here today because you have filed a verified petition for order of protection against Shirley Schickel. Then at the same time, it sounds like Ms. Schickel has also filed an order of protection against a verified petition for order of protection against you. I'm going to start with you first in time and then go to her, and we'll go from there. So, Ms. Skorzewski, why are you seeking an order of protection against Ms. Schickel?
Yesterday, I had to call the police. I have a police report number I can give you. It's not uploaded, but they said if you call, you can get the information. I guess it's listed under battery. She slapped me, punched me, pushed me. Yesterday. She wouldn't let me leave. After I called the police, the dispatcher asked me if she was still by me, and I said yes, because I was sitting in my car on the phone with them, and they asked if I could go down a different street, and she refused to move out of the way of my car. I had to reverse all the way down the street, probably like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know what the distance is, third mile, something, I don't know. And then when I got to that street, dispatch told me to be there. She showed up there like 2 minutes later, and I had to call 911 again because she just kept following me. She has she has mental illness. She's scary. She shot herself in the head a couple months ago.
Well, let me stop right there. Let me ask you this: as far as Brian Boring, I can't remember this. I know you were before the court last week.
Yes.
Seeking the order of protection, I believe, against Brian Boring. What happened? I can't remember that case since that's what happened. Did the court grant your motion?
No. Actually, what happened was Brian Boring is the one that tried to get an order of protection against me, and he falsely, the judge on Monday, it was Cornell. I'm looking for the document. She scolded him and said this was a abuse of power because the man is just trying to get out of paying child support. So he's trying to get full custody of my child. Lied. I had the recording phone calls, the text messages I sent to my attorney. It was proven that what is it called? He had no status, what do they call that? I have the thing from my attorney. Because it's actually the reason he even filed for an order is because I demanded that he go to rehab. And he went and filed and called me up the moment he got it and said, haha, you were going to get one on me. I got hurt, bitch. Like, he's sick.
That was a text you received?
It was a recorded phone call. He knows all my calls are recorded because the man has been, I left him because he's been there. I called the police back in 2016. I've never been in an abusive relationship before. I have gone through ample amount of abuse from this man for years. I finally got away. And he's still trying to control me and hurt me any way he can.
Okay, let's do this because I think that you also filed an emergency order of protection against Brian Boring. And Ms. Schickel, we're going to get to you in a second. But so for purpose of continuity, so I can understand chronologically what's happened here.
So for months and months and months, the problem, there's always been an ongoing issue with Brian.
Okay, so let's start with June 14th. First of all, do you and Brian have a child in common?
Correct, yes.
Okay, you have one or two?
One.
2-year-old boy?
Correct.
Okay, and how long were you in a relationship, if ever? How long was that relationship?
October 2016 until August 2019.
Okay, so just last year it ended.
Yeah.
Okay, you had a 2-year-old child together. Okay, so now in your petition you indicate on June 14th you've got a text from Brian saying that your stuff was on the side of his house. What prompted that text message to you?
He has been promising to bring me my belongings because when I did move out, he only gave me 1 hour to get my belongings. And I only had a handful of people to help me.
When did you move out?
In August.
So between August of 2019 and just a few days ago, you still had stuff in this place?
Yeah, he keeps refusing to give it to me. It's
Okay,
his control.
Okay, so you received a text message saying your belongings were on the side of the house. Go ahead, tell me what happened.
He was supposed to bring it's my late grandmother's antique karaoke cabinet that means a lot to me. And he was supposed to bring it the day before and said, because he's just super abusive, said, fuck you, bitch, I'm not breeding your shit, you fucking rotten hell, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going out of my way. I worked all day. So then I said, well, I need to know where my stuff is. This is not okay. I need my stuff. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I want nothing to do with you. I need you to leave me alone. I'm tired of his death threats. Like, it just, the amount of abuse that I have been going through with this man is insane. And the fact that he used the system is disgusting. And that's
Okay, ma'am, I just want you to, I know it's emotional, but I need you to focus on what's before me right now. So, you said, okay, in your petition, and you can tell me more about your petition. You said that he called you 7 times within a 15-minute time span. Were you at his location when he called you?
Yes, I was. I was
Okay, so
at
you
his
were at,
house.
okay, you was at his place, which is in Antioch.
Yes, I was parked on the street.
Okay, and who was helping you retrieve the stuff from his house?
It was only me
Okay, so you were, and your stuff was on the side of the house.
on the side of the house.
Okay, and so he was texting you 7 times within the 15-minute time span, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what was going on at that point.
I called him. I called him once, and then he called me back, and I said, your girlfriend's here, because she filed as well against me, which was dismissed because I don't know, whatever. They lied, okay? He called and said that she was pissed that I was there, and I said, why is she mad? Why didn't you tell her? And he said, my mom's pissed, that you're there. Hurry up and get off the property, I said, I've already retrieved my stuff. It's outside my car on the street. I'm not on the property. I'm trying to hurry up and figure out how to get everything put in there and get out of there. I don't want to be around these people. They're horrible.
Okay, and so how much, did you put your stuff in the car?
Yes.
Okay, so then what happened?
And then I got I don't know if it was the 6th or 7th phone call, but he, I don't know who was calling him, if it was his girlfriend or if it was his mother, but somebody, he said, oh, you're causing so many problems just even being there, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why didn't you tell these people I was coming? You told me to come. And, he said, you better get the fuck out of there. My mom has a loaded gun, dude. You better get the fuck out. She's coming out with a gun. And that's when she came out. And
Okay.
I had the recorded call.
Okay.
You need to hear it.
No, okay, no, that's fine. So, well, yeah, let me hear the recorded call.
Okay. I hope this works. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to play it. Let me know if you can hear it, okay?
Okay.
Can you hear that?
No.
Oh no. Is there a way I can email it?
No, that's fine. I'm gonna take you for your word as to.
How do we?
Well, hold on a second. Okay. All right. So this is only for the emergency anyway. So keep going. So, Miss Shekel comes out of the house. What happens?
Well, I gotta get out of that thing. She comes out of the house. Actually, I was in the back of my vehicle with the hatch open, so I actually didn't notice she was there right away. And then I saw her, and she was taking a picture of my front license plate. And I asked her, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm not allowed to be around here." And I said, "Your son told me to come and get my shit, blah, blah, blah." And then she proceeds to walk, because I was still at the back of my car. She proceeds to walk to the back of my vehicle. Then with the hatch open, she goes, leans her body into my vehicle and starts taking pictures of my belongings. And I said, "I'm trying to get out of here. You need to get out of my car." So she was leaning into it. And then she pushes me and gets directly in my face. And I reach up to close my hatch, and she's like, "Go ahead and hit me, fucking bitch." And I said, "I'm not gonna hit you. Get out of my way so I can leave." And then she pushed me, and said, "You're a stupid fucking," I don't know. She just rambled off like I'm a whore, I'm a heroin addict. And that's when I said, the only one with a drug problem is your son. And I said, "You're absolutely insane." And I said, "Why don't you go shoot yourself in the head again?" And then she slapped me on my right cheek. And I immediately started walking towards the front of my car to get in because I said, "That's it. I'm calling 911. You just assaulted me." And then she punched me as I'm walking to my driver's door. She punched me in the left shoulder, and then she continuously smacked me on the back of my head until I closed the door, and I called 911.
Okay. All right. And then as far as, all right. And then as far as Brian, it's the number of calls when he was calling you that day, telling you to leave, his mother, get off the property, his mother's coming outside, she has a gun, but then you also list prior incidents between you and him for the last 4 years. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, one more time.
You in your petition against Brian, the majority of what you're saying is that issue is the number of times he called you either on June 14th or June 15th within a certain time span. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then other than that, you mentioned in your petition over the last 4 years, since 2016, the level of violence between the two of you, correct?
Yeah, it was domestic, August 19, 2016.
Okay.
Filed.
Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I want to hear from Ms. Shackle. If you can Shickle, I'm sorry. If you can unmute yourself. All right. So, ma'am, what do you have to say about your petition against Ms. Borzuski?
This has been an ongoing situation. First off, she moved into the property overnight. I had no idea she had even moved in. She changed her name on utilities, this, that, and the other. I was told that she had another house, that this was only a temporary situation. They actually had the basement loaded to the rafters with all kinds of boxes and you name it. They have fought through the years. She has punched him in the face. She has had him lose his jobs. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We could talk forever about it. Just before she got pregnant, she said she was leaving. I said, if it's so bad here and things are so rough, then you really need to move on in your life. And she says, don't worry about me. I have a plan. And not even a month later, she announced that she was pregnant. And
Really?
there it started continual again. Now we blame the hormones for the fighting that they were having. Honestly, this is getting to the point of being ridiculous because the neighbors are talking with the amount of yelling and screaming. And I had even told her, your mouth is ridiculous. People hear you. And she says, I could care less, F the neighbors. Okay. She has the baby. Now it holds the baby. Nobody gets to see him. He goes to work like a dog, comes home. He's got to take care of the baby all night because now she locked herself in the bed. That goes on. I tell them both, you're both adults, deal with it. I'm tired of this. I have my own health issues. Continues on, more physical, more threat. She calls him up at work, showing pictures that she's in Lake County, putting things on him, having him arrested, having him thrown out of, I mean, constant. They're both at fault. Neither one
Oh
of them.
my God. Oh my God.
Then we have a child. What
Your
she would
Honor,
say that
Ma'am,
she's
no. I gave you an opportunity to speak. I'm letting her speak. Please go, Ms. Shickle.
what she doesn't say is that she does whatever she wants and doesn't care. There's asking me, it's bringing families in, having them stay overnight. There's no leases, there's no nothing. Okay, she got pregnant. I felt sorry for the whole situation. And I thought maybe this baby would bring them together. Of course it did not. The wrong wish. Too bad for the child. Now we're at a point where she goes out, she has an affair, she got caught. She decides to move. She moves out. And on the day that she moves, she brings a 24-foot U-Haul truck and 5 people. They were there for like 3 hours. They left with half a truck full. They left my basement a disaster, filled with all kinds of garbage, which is still lingering around. They left with pieces of my antique furniture that just walked out the door with them.
Wow.
From that point on, my son was told he cannot come back on the property. And that's it. I can't deal with this anymore. It's embarrassing. I don't need it. Now we have fights over the child. You give the money or you don't get the child. The child is being waived as a pawn now. Family doesn't get to see him, nothing. My son works. He goes and says, I can't pick him up on Sunday. We can't do that. No, I've got a headache. This happened, that happened. I'll pick him up on Monday morning at 5:30. 5:30 comes. Does she pick him up? No, she does not pick him up. Sorry, can't make it. Now my son can't go to work. Now he's stuck with a child. What do I do? This went on. The fighting on the job went on so bad. He has lost 2 jobs because of it. Now we get to the point where we drop the child off and we don't pick him up for 16 weeks. 16 weeks, no mom. He calls the police to say, we have an abandoned child. What do I do? The police say, you have to take him. In the meantime, she's constantly calling him up saying, I want money. You better give me money or I'm going to this and I'm going to that. Well, now there's a new girlfriend involved. Now, of course, there's a jealousy issue here. So she's stuck in the middle of this. It's a revolving circle with the child involved. In all of this, she never once came for anything. I said, I wanted all the stuff out. My son says, she doesn't want it, it's garbage. All of a sudden, out of the blue, she's saying she wants it. But what she did neglect to tell you is she was coming for medicine for his eczema and a box of his. That's what was outside the house waiting for her. So when the call came to me yesterday, as I was sitting in my yard with my neighbor, my son is screaming, saying, she's all over the property. The camera in the house picked her up. She was going through my barn. She was all over grabbing whatever. She was not grabbing the medicine that was supposed to be used for her son and the other box and leaving. My neighbor and I walk outside to the car. She's got every single car door open. She's got the back hatch open. She's shoving something in there like a lawn chair, which was not on the list, and fumbling around and everything else. She has a history. She makes calls and she takes off. I got her license plate number because she lives in Wisconsin, but she's got an Illinois plate all of a sudden. I don't, so I take the picture of the plate. My neighbor and I walk up to the car and I said, Amy, last month or May or whatever it was, I told my son, I do not want you on the property. Any business you conduct, go to the police station, because every time there's an issue and it's getting rather embarrassing with this constant thing. So we get to the point, we're at the car. I tell her, you must leave. I don't have to. This is a public street. I can park here whenever I want. Well, we also have cameras up and we also have neighbors who testified to the police last week that she's around the neighborhood at 3 o'clock in the morning, of which that's why the order of protection went on last time with my son and his girlfriend, because she went on my property. She tried to open the house door where my son was sleeping, and then she keyed his car, and then she went ahead and caused damage to the other girl's car. Now she's driving 45 minutes to come to this house to do these things. The neighbors are scared. They don't understand why she's riding around at all hours, sitting on the corners and everything else. She says she can do what she wants to do. This is premeditated, whatever she's doing. Now I'm in fear. Now I go to the car with the neighbor. I ask her to leave. She doesn't want to leave. I stand outside the car, which all the neighbors now come because of the yelling and screaming. And I tell her, no, this is not happening. You need to leave. She jumps in front of me before I can even take a picture of what items she had taken off of the property. He starts screaming, yelling, "I will take you down, old woman. I'm going to take you down." He proceeds to raise her hand at me and push me. At that, I'm sorry. You've already touched me. You're going to catch a slap of what she did. Neighbors are telling her to leave. We're all calling 911. She's enraged, and it continues on. Now it gets to the point again. She says again, "I will take you down." Okay, she goes, she pushes me again. This time, she catches my arm, got a good gash on my arm, and she catches the slap. The neighbors are screaming for her to leave. She decides to close the door. Now she's going to take off. The neighbor is telling her, "Now you're leaving the scene. The police are on their way. You don't leave. No, you got to stay." Starts with all the hysterias, all the crocodile stuff normally does. This is not something new. This is history that keeps repeating itself. And we said, "No, you cannot go. You're going to wait for the police." Well, she told the neighbors, "Get out of my way or I'm going to run you over." The neighbor yelled back at her, "Go ahead and run me over. Now you have another issue on your back."
Well, what I'm gonna do is this.
I'm
What
sorry.
I'm gonna do is, no, that's right. What I'm gonna do is this. There are 3 people involved in this scenario. It's a triangle. It's both ladies and Brian. Brian's not here before the court. There are potential witnesses who saw this, neighbors. There are potential video from here, from residential surveillance. And I got 2 of you kind of like pointing the finger at each other. That being said, this court doesn't know what to believe without additional information from these other people, because both of you have come to the court pretty much making allegations against the other. I'm not granting an emergency order of protection for anyone, because this is because I don't know what it is to believe at this point. I need more evidence. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this for hearing. The hearing is going to be July 6th, which is a Monday at 1:30. July 6th at 1:30, and we're going to do this by Zoom. I'm going to give each side plenty of opportunity to present their side of the case. If they have any witnesses, I would encourage them to have witnesses ready to go via Zoom so I can hear from them, so then the court can determine who and what to believe. If there's any video that the parties wish the court to consider, I would encourage that as well, so the court can have an independent source of evidence to determine who and what to believe.
Your
I am
Honor,
not granting, yes.
the week prior, when the orders of protection were granted to my son and to his girlfriend, that very day that the order of protection was done, within hours of him getting home, he's in his home, and all of a sudden the door opens. She walked in the house. She parked a block away to come into that house. The police were called.
And I need to hear that from Brian. And I don't know, I don't have that case in front of me right now. I can't remember if I issued the order or not. But I will look into that matter as well. I'll pull that file.
And they were back last weekend too, the police. They had to come back because of the continual calls.
So again, hold on. Let me finish. July 6th at 1:30, I'm here from everybody. I'm not granting an emergency today. I am continuing all matters for hearing. July 6th at 1:30, have your witnesses ready to go so I can determine who and what I need to believe and make a ruling at that point. All right, ladies?
Now, what safety do I have that she's not coming back on the property? Number one, I have no guns. That's number one. Number two, I have proof that I have no guns. Okay. Number three.
Well, ma'am, you always have the local police department. What I'm saying is this. This is only an emergency proceeding. Usually an emergency proceeding, I only hear from one side. So I only hear from that one side information. I would grant emergency based on what I hear, and then I would have a hearing for both sides to be present so I can have a full-blown hearing as to both. This situation where you both have come in with emergency pointing fingers at each other. A is saying B did something. B is saying no, A did something. So what is the court to believe? The only way the court can believe anything really is if I hear from independent people, third parties, videos, witnesses. That's why I'm setting this for July 6th. The protection you have from each other right now is just to call the police.
Okay,
Right now, I'm not granting emergency based on what I'm heard. I am setting this for hearing. And again, it's gonna be July 6th at 1:30. All right, ladies?
very good. Thank you.
We'll see you then. Thank you. Yes, please.